Tina, happy Friday to you. Thanks for sticking with us here. Longer days, of course. We're losing an hour of sleep. A lot of things going through our head as we head into the weekend. So get ready to spring forward this Sunday. Our next guest, though, a sleep expert at the Benjamin Hotel and instructor of medicine at Harvard Medical School. Joining us now is Dr. Rebecca Robbins. She wants to help ease you into that time change. Good morning, Dr. Robbins.
Morning, Alex. Thank you for having me.
We are so happy to have you on the show. We want to talk about just kind of diving into what this is going to do, of course, for our health, how things are going to change for us. I think a lot of people right off the bat probably think that an hour doesn't do much, but I would imagine that people do run into difficulty with these time changes that we see.
Oh, yes. And it's, of course, easier to add an hour in the fall, but the spring is the challenging one when we lose an hour. And in our typical 24-hour day with other capped responsibilities that you can't often ignore, sometimes sleep can get the short end of the stick, meaning that as a society that's not quite meeting the recommended sleep duration of 7 to 8 or 9 hours. So collectively, we're not quite to that threshold that we recommend, and then take it away one more hour, and we really struggle. So much so that we actually have data to show that in the week after the spring forward time change, we see more statistically significantly more car accidents and even more heart attacks. So this really does take a toll on all of us.
And I feel like you mentioned, I mean, if we don't make sleep a priority, then that can easily fall to the wayside. You can think, oh, I'll get 4 or 5 hours of sleep, I'll catch up later. I was telling you earlier in the commercial, it is probably cringeworthy for a sleep scientist, but I do that all the time, where I feel like I get to bed a little bit later, I only get maybe 5 or 6 hours, and I think, oh, well, the weekend is approaching, right? It's Friday, I'll take a nap over the course of the weekend, or I'll sleep in tomorrow. Is it possible to catch up on sleep in that way?
The best recommendation we have scores of evidence to show that the best health, the best well-being today and well into the future comes from consistent, sufficient, healthy sleep. Now, life gets in the way sometimes, whether that's a social obligation that will kind of encourage us to stay out later than usual. The temptation to sleep in or kind of make up for lost sleep on the weekends is for some people a survival mechanism. If you work on the shift schedule, for instance, there are really certain circumstances where that's essential. But where possible, if you can make time for sufficient sleep consistently, Monday through Monday, that is really the best scenario. And it really is because of our circadian rhythm. Our circadian rhythm governs our sleep and has an internally programmed time that we are supposed to be awake and then conversely alert and, asleep. And so if we change those times drastically by 1 or 2 hours, say you start to sleep in consistently on the weekends, it throws our internal clock out of whack, and it's going to make our ability to fall asleep even harder.
So what's the best tip that you can provide, or maybe a handful of tips for people who are going into this time change who know they're going to struggle?
3 things. Number 1, I'm so glad we're chatting today because we have a couple days. We're going to lose an hour, so start tonight and prepare by adding simply 15 minutes to your overall sleep schedule, starting the process a little bit earlier. So go into bed and do something, or your bedroom environment, and try to do something relaxing. Maybe a warm shower before you go into your bedroom, and maybe some light meditation exercises, some gentle yoga poses are great to kind of ease into sleep. And then also just doing things that are relaxing to you. So maybe that's journaling or reading a couple pages in a book, but looking at those minutes before bedtime as really part of the process. And finally, if you toss and turn either tonight, tomorrow night, get out of bed and come back to bed when you are tired. Tossing and turning will only increase your temperature in your bedroom environment and cause you to look at your bed as a stressful place, when we want to change that and make the bedroom something that you really look forward to.
I never really thought about that. Get out of bed, take a deep breath, and then head back to bed when you're actually tired. That makes more sense. And I would imagine you're probably encouraging people to maybe stay off their devices as they're headed to bed, right?
Unfortunately, blue light exposure, well, let's make it a positive spin, because sunlight exposure is actually really important for our overall sleep health. It syncs that circadian rhythm to our external day and the patterns of light and darkness around us. So bright sunlight cues our internal rhythm to become alive and awake. So walking outside first thing in the morning is a great thing to do, especially this Sunday when we roll the clocks forward. Now, the converse of that is critical for sleep because it's the absence of light that then allows melatonin to secrete in the brain. Now, unfortunately, many of our devices, our tablets, our smartphones emit light that looks like the sun. It's on the same spectrum as bright sunlight exposure right when we're trying to power down. So there are a couple of smartphone applications you can look into to reduce the color temperature to be a warmer color instead of a bright blue and alerting color if you do have to be on your screens. But by and large, we're also doing stressful things on those devices. So generally, do recommend to try to switch to something more relaxing.
All right, Dr. Rebecca Robbins, we appreciate you being with us.